Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of the River Rat Lab. In today's episode, we're going to be diving in deep on all about springtime fishing with swim baits. Stay tuned, it's going to be an awesome one. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to cover in this video is going to be my rod and reel setups when I'm throwing springtime swim baits. I've got two setups I mainly use when I'm throwing a swim bait. I've got my big swim bait rod, which is a 7.3 St. Croix Victory Extra Fast. It's a great rod. I've used it for 3 years now with the swim bait. I primarily throw glide baits and mag drafts on this rod. It's just an all-around, I love this rod for swim bait fishing. It bombs them really well. Really good rod, perfect action, and yeah, like I said, I throw a lot of mag dress on that rod. With the reel, I've got an old Tatula SV 7-to-1 reel. Thing's been a workhorse for a while. I've had the setup for like 4 years and I've loved it. So that's my big swim bait rod. I recommend having a, this is even a small, big swim bait rod. A lot of guys have a 7.6 to a 7.10. I just kind of like the 7.3 because I'm a little bit of a smaller guy and I get fatigued when I'm really throwing this thing all day. So yeah, I throw my big swim baits, my freestyles on that, my glide baits on that, and yeah, and my second setup is a Tatula Elite 7.5 medium heavy fast action. I've got that paired up with the SV limited edition reel, and yeah, this thing is just a kind of a workhorse swim baits. I throw a lot of say smaller swim baits like this Mike Buka bullgill. I throw a lot of lighter swim baits on this. So when I'm Texas rigging a swim bait weightless with one of these BKK armor joint hooks, when I'm Texas rigging it weightless, I throw it on there. So yeah, that rod is just a staple. I can cast it far. I can throw it up in the shallows, throw it out deep. If I'm throwing a Texas rig swim bait or a weightless swim bait, just all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my lighter swim bait rod. But those are the two main rods I like to use. For line size, on the big one I got 20-pound fluoro, and then on the smaller one I got 17-pound fluoro. So yeah, now let's get into the first topic, is glide bait fishing and just bigger swim baits in general. Alright guys, so the first topic we're going to cover in this video is big swim baits. So I'm talking your glide baits, your mag drafts, all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about glide baits for a second. I don't have a ton of experience with glide bait fishing. I just started it last summer. These baits are really good at pulling fish out of cover. So a lot of the times, when you're up in the springtime, when the water gets above 50 degrees, the fish will migrate to the shallows. And you can throw these glide baits on literally any sort of structure and it will cause the fish to come out and just react to it. And whether you catch them or not, they're going to show you that they're there. So I use this more of a tool for finding fish versus catching fish, but these things get really big fish to commit sometimes, and it can be a blast fishing up shallow with these. If I'm by docks, I love pitching it right on the side of docks and just working it, washing with my eyes on the bait, seeing the fish come out, react to it, showing themselves, and come back later and throw a wacky under there or a jig and you can get them. So a lot of times it's a really good search bait. Some of the main baits I like to use is KGB Chad Chad. That's pretty much my favorite glide bait. I got a couple in bone and a couple in this perch color, and then some custom painted ones as well. So yeah, that's my go-to glide bait. I haven't really tried anything else, honestly. I've tried the 6th Sense ones a couple times. I don't really love those ones. They don't really sink fast enough for me. And then I've also got a G-Rat Sneaky Pete that I want to try this year. So yeah. Let's get into mag drafts now. So mag drafts are just a super versatile springtime killer in the pre-spawn. Really, from when the water's in the 45 to 46 all the way to spawn, this bait just does work. Whether it's a freestyle like this one here, it's really preference when I'm picking a freestyle versus a normal mag draft is when there's weeds around or cover. It's the normal mag draft like you see here. So it's got a pre-rigged hook. So it's got the little treble, and yeah, it's pre-rigged. And then you got the freestyle with the 8/0 owner beast hook that's weighted. So those are the two difference in those. You got one pre-rigged that definitely catches weeds in the bottom. You kind of got to find the perfect speed for the amount of depth you're fishing. And then you've got the freestyle for where you can really throw it anywhere. But kind of my rule of thumb for this is when earlier or later in the season, earlier in the season, I'd say later into the pre-spawn. Wait, I'm jumping my words. Okay, so later in the pre-spawn, I like to throw this OG mag draft, like the standard one, the pre-rigged one. One, because you can fish this bait shallower. I find more success fishing this bait from 2 to 4 feet, and this bait anything over 4 feet. One, because, you know, if I'm want to be a fish, I'm covering water yet still wanting to get a big bite, I'm going for the freestyle. One, because it's weedless. You will basically catch 0 weeds with it. You can throw it under docks. You can skip this bait really well. But I really like this pre-rigged one just because it just flat out, your hooking percentage is so much better with the pre-rigged one. You can catch 2-pounders all the way up to 4-pounders, 5, 6-pounders. I mean, you can really catch any size fish on this mag draft if they're hungry enough to eat it. This guy, I always think it's got to be like a 2.5 to 3-pounder to bite it. So it's like I said, it's all about kind of learning what type of mag draft to throw in like your conditions, whether it's weeds, docks, rock, wood, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but my favorite pre-rigged swimbait obviously is the mag draft. I haven't tried like the cold shad or anything yet, so I can't give you guys a good opinion, but Megabass mag draft, you literally can't beat this bait. It's a tried and true bait. I've got some giants on it last year, and even a couple this year already. So yeah, my favorite colors in this mag draft is I got 3 I mainly do. There's a couple other ones I've tried, but the 3 are this brownie for really clear water. It's a very translucent colored bait, just kind of, you know, like I said, clear water, 5-foot viz or more. I'm throwing this. Looks really good. If you put it up in the light, I'm gonna kind of take you guys on for the camera here. If you put it up in the light, it is really iridescent, like underneath. So when it's sunny out, this bait just looks really awesome in the water. So it's kind of hard to tell, but you kind of get what I'm saying. So then the second color I love to use is the pearl. This color is a tried and true staple. You can fish this in 1-foot visibility all the way up to like 15. I really don't think fish, when they're seeing a mag draft, they're gonna be like, oh, it's white, I only eat bluegills, I'm not gonna eat it. I think the fish are really just not like, they're not picky. This bait is just the absolute surge killer. I'll skip this thing under docks, throw it on points, clear water, doesn't matter. This white swim bait, I've got so much confidence in. So this is definitely my main fish catcher any time of the year is this white mag draft. It's just a tried and true. This one's kind of also got that same effect with the sun. When it's up in the sun, it like has this like a different look to it in the water that looks really good like underwater. So I just really think that looks really good to the bass too. So that's why I love that color so much. And then the last color I like to use is definitely the most bluegill color. It's actually in my rod right now because I was throwing it. But basically it's called Nude Bass, and it's a really sweet color. It's got like speckles all over it and just looks really good like a bluegill. Honestly, this one's the best bluegill imitation that they make. So yeah, I got some coloration up on the fins there too. Just looks really natural, really like a bluegill. So yeah, that's probably my favorite color wise, but I wouldn't say it's the most productive one. So yeah, those are the 3 colors I normally stick to. Pretty simple, gets the job done for all of them. Now let's get into more kind of like shallow water fishing, or into the spawn, into the post spawn, kind of like more situational stuff that I go for the smaller rods. So yeah, that's the big bait stuff. Hopefully you guys learned something from that. Now let's get into the smaller stuff. One more thing I'm gonna talk about with that mag draft freestyle, I do use the Owner Beast hooks. So yeah, that's my preferred hook when I'm using those baits. So I don't really know where the screw lock went on this one, but I have the hook. So yeah, but Owner Beast hook, I believe this is a 6 or an 8/0. I don't quite remember what it is, but I believe you can just look it up. I think it's a 8/0 or a 6/0. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I believe it's a 6/0. I'll put it in the video now. So yeah, but 6/0 Beast hook, definitely the best for the mag draft freestyle. 6-inch. If you're going to the 8-inch, I would do the 8/0. So yeah, that's big swimming fishing. Let's get into small swimming fishing. Alright guys, so there's this bite that kind of happens when the fish are spawn, pre-spawn, like late pre-spawn, into spawn, and into post-spawn, I like to do. And it's like a weightless swim bait. So kind of what I'm using is this is like a BKK hook. You've got like armored joint hook, screw lock, and then you've got like the weighted kind as well. So those 2 hooks I like to use, but basically I throw a bigger swim bait like this X-Zone 4.75-inch swimmer. So it's definitely a bigger, it's not a 3.8 inch, it's not your standard swim bait, it's a bigger one. So it's a 4.75 inch to 6-inch bait. You get a really big swim bait and you throw on one of those hooks and you just slow reel it like a mag draft. Now the key thing with this is you can get this in inches of water. So when I got fish that are really shallow and I can't get them with the freestyle because this thing gets in the weeds really easy when it's shallow, and I can't get them with the pre-rigged because it's too shallow, that's when I go to the weightless rig, but it's just a big swim bait. So yeah, the swammer, this 4.7 inch swammer has so much action, it's amazing. So yeah, that's kind of a tip and trick for you guys when you have fish that are really shallow and when you want to be making long casts. Throw on a weightless swim bait, but it is a lot of weight when you have it on a good rod action. So like I said, to have that 7.5 medium heavy fast, I can really bomb this bait far up shallow. So it's stealthy, it is really sneaky going around in the shallows, and this bait is just a killer when it comes in the springtime. Okay guys, last thing I'm going to be talking about swim baits is just like a classic jig head and a swim bait. So I really stick to the main thing: Outcast Tackle, GoldenEye swimmer head. This thing's a tried and true staple. I got the two colors. I like to use the white and then the green pumpkin one, which I don't have right now, and then the unpainted. So yeah, I really just throw between probably 3/16 ounce, 3/8 ounce, all up to a ½ ounce. Kind of depends on your water depth you're fishing, what kind of where the fish are, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm just throwing my simple 4-inch swammer on there, 3.5-inch to 4-inch swammer, even all the way down to 3-inch when they're getting really finicky. It's kind of based off, you know, when I'm in the colder temperatures, I'm throwing on a spinning rod. I like using my 7-foot medium with just a 3,000 size overall versatile spinning reel. You can just throw it on that. I just like making long casts with it, really slowly reeling it. I literally go to like the 3-inch bait. As the springtime gets more in there and get up shallow, or even the post spawn, I like to go with a beefier, you know, where I'm going up to like a 3/8 ounce and a 4-inch bait. So, like I said, kind of depends on where the fish are in the spawn, what stage they're in, what your water clarity is, all that kind of stuff. So all those factors kind of work into it. But I'd say overall, day in, day out, I'm throwing like a 1/4 ounce to a 3/8 ounce, and I'm just gonna burn it like a swim jig when there's not weeds around. You know, when there's weeds around, I'm definitely gonna go with swim jig. When I got rock or when I got wood or just not much weed growth, you're on the weed edge or on the inside weed line, that little swim bait, super subtle, it is a killer. So yeah, that's kind of everything when it comes to the swim bait side of it. Now let's kind of get into like situations and locations where I like to throw it. Okay guys, so talking about more locations wise, where I'm gonna pick these bigger swim baits or situations where I like to use them. So I've kind of already talked a lot about it, but when I'm using a bigger swim bait, it's obviously there's going to be big fish around. I'm not going to go for small fish with a big swim bait. So when I think I'm in a spot where I can get a big fish, or I really want to see if there's a big bite around, that's when I'm going to go. I'd say the first pick in the big swim bait that I'm always going to go to is going to be a mag draft, whether it's the pre-rigged one or the the beast hook one, the weedless, the freestyle. That's just kind of like my confidence bait. I can cover water better with it. It's just like I got more confidence in it than a glide bait right now because I'm still experimenting with glide bait. So I'd say, for my experience, the first thing you're gonna grab when you want to go swim bait fishing, big swim bait fishing, is grab a mag draft and just go really slowly reel it, just in the shallows on the spots you think they're gonna be, and the big fish will show you that they will hit that thing hard and you will get them in. So. Yeah, but like locations wise, you know, really early in the springtime, I'm gonna be getting on staging points from the winter, you know, whether it's staging points near bays. So, you know, first hand and secondary points leading into spawning bays is where I'm gonna be at, like when the water's in the 45 to 50 degree range. Once they slide up into the bays, I'll normally throw like that freestyle, or I'll just, you know, reel it a little bit quicker, my normal mag draft, and I'll just more cover water like that. But that's kind of just covering water. But spots wise, early in this pre-spawn, it's very important. You're really going to want to line up your cast strategically on the points, whether it's you're casting out, bringing it up the slope, or bringing it across the slope. It's all about figuring out what kind of bite they want. So once you get them dialed in on a mag drive, it can be a crazy day once you get them figure out where they're positioned on these points and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how I locate the fish. So in the pre-spawn with mag drafts. Let's talk about glide baits now. Really, my most success throwing these things is on cover, like I said, when they cut wood or docks in the springtime. More later into the pre-spawn, so when water is probably in 55 to 60, I'm going with the glide bait a lot around the dock. So it's a pretty good bait. I like throwing it. It's really cool to watch them bite it, but it's definitely not the most efficient or like the bait I have the most confidence in covering water either, really. So it's kind of a really situational bait, the glide bait, but I'm definitely going to find a lot more uses for it this spring. Now, if we're just throwing this standard swim bait, I like to go for, like I said, shallow bays, you know, docks. This thing's super versatile. When I'm just fishing junk weed, it's slimy weed, you don't want to get on your glide bait or mag draft, just throw out that big swim bait, go right over the top of it. Just a super versatile bait. You really can throw this bait anywhere you want, but it's a situation where, you know, like I said, you're really shallow, like in 2 feet or less, and you want to just still not throw like a wacky or a jig or a Texas rig and be slow, you want to cover water still, that's where you go to that weightless swim bait. So yeah, that's kind of everything I got about Swimbait Fishing 101. I'm kind of going to talk about my retrieves now with the baits, and then that should wrap up the video. So yeah. Alright guys, so retrieves with the mag draft. This is the one that is the most important to me when I'm casting a mag draft. I'm taking my rod sock quick, but really, when I'm casting a mag draft, first of all, I'm going to make a really, really long cast. That's the key with this bait. Give a really bomb long cast, slowly reel it around, and it's about the speed, I would say, of when you're just like almost comfortably reeling but uncomfortably reeling, if that makes sense. So you're not painfully so. I would say about, I'm going to cast this guy out a little bit. Just give myself some line so I can show you guys. Okay, so really, I'm casting out there, right? It's all about finding the perfect roll with the mag draft, because if you reel it too fast, the bait will go like this on the side, and then it just does not look good. If you reel it too slow, it won't get enough kick. But when you're reeling it perfect, the head and the tail will be in sync, and it'll create like a little hunting, wobbling motion, and that's the motion you want. So cast it out there. I'll reel it about, trying to give you guys a good visual to how I'm reeling this bait. So I'm really going to reel it like right about here. That's like the perfect speed for a 7-to-1 gear, is that speed right there. So I would say, you know, I don't even know how to really show you guys, but just like right, and then you can check. You can check what I do, even at the start of the day sometimes. I'll just pitch it out and make sure I'm not reeling it too quick. I'll look at it and make sure it's doing that perfect mag draft roll side to side. And if I got that right, then I'm just going to keep on replicating that cast and that action. So, like I said, mag draft, they can be really picky, and if you don't fish this bait right, you will not have success on this. The glide bait, that's kind of a personal preference and mood preference. If the fish are really active, you're going to obviously fire them up, do a lot of reel turns. But I would say, you know, there's kind of a tip with that. I would do a lot more reel turns versus rod twitches. It's just easier to control the bait, and when you get that bite, you know, let's just say you're twitching your rod and you get that bite up here, you kind of get pulled with your pants down. You're like, you got to reel up all that slack and get them. And by that time, with a glide bait especially, the fish are easily going to throw that bait if you don't get a good hook on them. So, yeah, use a reel for, even for the mag draft too. When you get stuck in a weed, use a reel to pop it out instead of ripping it, because you never know when that fish is going to be on your bait. So, yeah, it's kind of everything I got for the retrieves wise. Just really, it's a lot of personal experience with the swim baits. You just got to go out and purchase some and go test them out at your local lake. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the videos coming this year. And yeah, let me know if you guys like this kind of content, and we'll talk to you guys on the next River at Labs video. Peace.